My cheating wife thought. Did she really steal my money and run away with her lover? Well, look who decided to show up. It's the consequences of their own actions, fashionably late but right on time. Today on the Betrayal Room, we're diving into the wild world of two white-collar Bonnie and Clyde wannabes who are about to crash and burn, all thanks to their own hilariously bad decisions. Buckle up, folks. Her affair partner was convinced he'd hit the jackpot. So, here we are, both of them out of work and facing a lawsuit. Talk about a plot twist, right? So there I was, a 34-year-old dude, thinking I had the whole marriage thing down pat with my wife, Natalie, who's 32 and just as fabulous as ever. So, here we are, a decade in the love game and 7 years into the whole I do adventure. Can you believe it? Time flies when you're having fun, or arguing over who left the cap off the toothpaste. Life was pretty sweet for us. We were living the dream, folks. Picture this, our very own house, not just one but two shiny cars parked in the driveway, and a killer investment portfolio that would make any financial guru do a happy dance. Life was good. So, picture this, I was just 28, full of ambition and caffeine, when I decided to dive headfirst into the wild world of consulting. And voila, my very own consulting agency was born. Who knew adulthood could be this much fun? Natalie was the go-to gal in a fintech company, holding down the fort in customer support like a champ. I've raked in a pretty penny with my business, but let me tell you, we've never gone all out like we could have. We keep it simple, folks. No need for gold-plated toasters around here. I toss a good chunk of my paycheck into different investments, like a kid throwing coins into a wishing well, hoping for a splash of cash to come back my way. Honestly, living large just isn't my jam. So, here's the scoop, I'm on a mission to kick back and sip piña coladas on a beach way before the usual retirement age. But let me tell you, it's going to take some serious financial ninja skills to make that dream a reality. So, we were like a dynamic duo when it came to our daily finances, think Batman and Robin, but with bills instead of bad guys. I took the wheel for all the long-term financial planning, though. You know, the big picture stuff, while my partner kept us on track with the everyday cash flow. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? So, I laid it all out on the table, no secrets here. She was totally in the loop about our cash stash and how much we had thrown into the pot. Oh boy, it was a whole lot. Like, if it were a pizza, it would be the extra large, stuffed crust kind that you can't even finish in one sitting. Seriously, it was just a lot. Let's just say we had enough sparkle to make it look like we were rolling in dough, but in reality, we were still chasing the dream like a dog after a mailman. Spoiler alert, we weren't even close. Well, I guess Natalie had her own little twist on the whole thing, huh? So, there she was, probably doing the math in her head, eyes wide at the jaw-dropping numbers and the investments soaring like a rocket. You could almost see the gears turning as she thought, why on earth aren't we out there living the high life? She never really let it out, but oh boy, there were those moments when you could practically see the steam coming out of her ears because we weren't exactly rolling in dough like the Kardashians. So there I was, trying to lay it all out for her like I was some kind of life coach or something. I mean, the plan was simple, build a better life for ourselves and set our future kiddos up for success right from the get-go. Easy peasy, right? But you know how it goes, sometimes the simplest things can turn into a full-on debate. Natalie's goals? Oh, they were a tad more self-centered than your average bear. So, a couple of months back, I had this light bulb moment, like, wait a minute, something's not quite right here. She started putting up her walls around me, like a fortress with a moat and everything. Talking to her was like trying to climb a mountain in flip-flops. It was like trying to read a book with the pages stuck together. I had no clue what was happening in her life or at the office anymore. Every time I tried to get her to spill the beans, it was like pulling teeth, just one-word answers or the occasional grunt. Talk about a communication barrier. So there I was, sweating bullets, thinking I must have totally blanked on some anniversary or another. But when the awkward silence dragged on longer than a bad sitcom, it hit me, this wasn't about any anniversary at all. So, it turns out the sparks between us decided to take a little vacation, and not the fun kind. They just kind of fizzled out, like a soda left open too long. Say goodbye to all those smooches and snuggles. If she decided to go all rigid on me or just brush me off like a pesky fly. Let's just say our bedroom was as exciting as a library on a rainy day, totally dead. It was like having a roommate who treated me like I was a pesky fly buzzing around their head, totally not a fan of my existence. So there I was, fed up with the same old routine, and I thought, enough is enough. I plopped myself down with Natalie one day, ready to tackle the elephant in the room. It was time to get real about things. She was like a fortress, all locked up tight, no feelings allowed and definitely no hugs in sight. It was like I was the only one at a party where everyone else was having a blast, and I was just standing in the corner, sipping my drink and wondering if I'd accidentally walked into the wrong place. Seriously, talk about feeling like a ghost in my own love story. Honestly, I wasn't shocked when Natalie gave me the cold shoulder at first. I mean, who wouldn't want to avoid my charming self, right? She just wouldn't stop insisting that everything was peachy keen, like a broken record stuck on the happiest tune ever. Seriously, you'd think she was trying to convince herself more than anyone else. So, here's the thing, why do women pull that classic "I'm fine" move when it's as clear as day that they're not? It's like watching a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat, but instead, it's a whole circus of emotions hiding behind that smile. She hardly glanced my way as she shot back her response. At that moment, I was so over it that I casually tossed out the idea of a divorce. I mean, why not? Right? Well, that flipped her script entirely. Out of nowhere, she decided it was time to chat things out and declared that there was absolutely no reason to go all dramatic with any big decisions. So there we were, chatting away into the night, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Our relationship had some serious issues lurking beneath the surface. Yikes. So, I had this gut feeling that her answers were a bit like a magician's trick, sleight of hand and all that jazz. Naturally, my inner detective kicked in, and I decided to do a little snooping around. So, there I was, tiptoeing like a ninja while she was off in dreamland, and guess what? I just had to sneak a peek at her phone. Back then, I was feeling pretty guilty about the whole thing. Oh boy, let me tell you, my guilt vanished faster than a magician's rabbit when I stumbled upon her little secret. Talk about a plot twist. So, here's the scoop, she had been juggling a little secret romance for almost a whole year. Yep, you heard that right. So, there I was, drowning in a sea of messages from this guy, and let me tell you, deciphering them was like trying to read hieroglyphics after a long night out. Total brain workout. So, picture this, a whole bunch of messages sliding into the DMs, and let me tell you, some of them were downright steamy, like, sent right after the fireworks went off. Talk about timing, right? You won't believe what I stumbled upon, there were even nudes in there. Talk about a surprise package, right? You won't believe what they had the audacity to say about me. So there I was, blissfully unaware, and then bam. They came at me like a pack of wild hyenas, throwing shade and tossing around some seriously spicy language. It was like a roast, but not the fun kind, more like a hate fest with a side of colorful insults. Ouch. So, there I was, minding my own business, when I stumbled upon the shocking news that Natalie had cheated on me. But wait, it gets better. The real kicker? The evidence that she absolutely loathed me. Ouch, right? Talk about a double whammy. It all seemed to boil down to my money management skills, or lack thereof. Natalie was tossing names around like confetti at a parade. Once upon a time, there was a notorious penny pincher, a real Scrooge McDuck in the flesh. I was the kind of person who would count every last cent, hoarding my cash like it was the last chocolate chip cookie in the jar. Selfish? Oh, you bet. I was practically the poster child for tight-fisted living. So, she claims I was all fake concerned about her future, but really, I just wanted to throw my cash around like confetti to keep her on a leash. Classic, right? Ouch. It was like a slap in the face to discover her true feelings about me. So, here's the scoop, her affair partner? Yep, he was just a regular dude from the office. Classic, right? So, picture this guy, we'll just call him John. So, picture this, I had no clue who this guy was until I stumbled upon some messages. Turns out, he was hopping around different departments like a kid in a candy store. So there was John, this marketing whiz or whatever, and let me tell you, he was all in whenever Natalie decided to throw some shade my way. It was like he was waiting for the cue to jump in and join the roast. He'd throw around names like idiot and cuck, cracking jokes about how clueless I was about them. Classic, right? But then, there was that one message that flipped a switch in my brain, like a neon sign screaming, "Warning! Warning!" So, there was Natalie, pouring her heart out in this dramatic rant about how I was just sitting on a pile of life-changing cash like a dragon on its hoard. And then, out of nowhere, John chimes in with a classic comeback, "Well, at least we know how to spend it better than he does." Classic John, always ready with the zinger. Natalie shot back with a quick "not here," and just like that, the conversation was as dead as a doornail. Game over, folks. Man, let me tell you, There were so many things about that just left me scratching my head. Oh, not around, huh? Classic move. So, was she basically saying, nope, not going to chat about that over text? Why, you ask? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's like standing in front of a vending machine, staring at the snacks, and wondering why you can't just reach in and grab them all. Life's full of mysteries, my friend. So, why? Because it keeps us on our toes and adds a little spice to our everyday routine. So, if she was all worried about me snooping on her phone, why on earth was she even texting him to begin with? Seems a bit fishy, right? So, here's the million-dollar question, why on earth didn't she just hit that delete button? I mean, come on. It's like leaving the last slice of pizza out in the open, just begging for trouble. What was she thinking? Was there something even juicier than the affair that they were trying to keep under wraps from me? Oh, let me tell you, I've heard some wild tales about wives who decided they'd had enough of their husbands. You know, the classic plots where they enlist their secret lovers to do the dirty work, or maybe hire a hitman straight out of a movie, or even whip up some poison in the kitchen. Talk about taking matters into their own hands, right? My brain was revving up like a race car, and I just had to uncover what they were scheming, if they were up to anything at all. But there was this other little nugget of thought that my brain just couldn't shake off. So, he didn't exactly claim they'd be the financial wizards of the century with my cash, just that they're apparently better at tossing it around than I am. Classic, right? It's like they're already having a blast with my cash, living it up while I'm just here watching my wallet get lighter. It felt like they were just itching to dive in without even giving me a chance to catch my breath. So, I hit the pause button and took a moment to just breathe it all in. So, there I was, diving deep into the rabbit hole of my thoughts, probably overthinking everything like a pro. But let me tell you, that night was a real eye-opener. It hit me like a ton of bricks that I couldn't just shrug things off and leave it all to fate. Nope, not this time. So, there I was, ready to embrace the doom and gloom like it was my new best friend. Worst case scenarios? Bring 'em on. So, I just went ahead and figured they were off chatting about some top secret plans in a different universe or something. So, what's the deal? Trying to plot my grand exit or something? Oh, so you want to ditch me and make off with half my hard-earned cash, huh? Classic move. Well, there's only one way to crack this mystery wide open. So there I was, diving headfirst into her DMs on social media like a detective on a mission. I went on a little adventure and checked them all out, even taking a peek at LinkedIn. Who knew job hunting could be such a wild ride? Zip, nada, nothing at all. I plopped down and let my brain do some serious thinking gymnastics for a bit. So, like, where else could they possibly chat it up? So, there was this chance they were scheming face to face, but honestly, that didn't do me any favors. So there I was, minding my own business, when bam! Her email icon popped up like a surprise party I didn't know I was invited to. Seriously, there's no way they were clueless enough to use their work email, right? I mean, come on. Well, you know, it kind of clicked, right? Like when you finally find that missing sock in the laundry, everything just falls into place. Looks like I'm locked out of that one. No access for me, folks. So, picture this, someone decides to dive into a super sensitive topic right in their work email. Yeah, not the brightest move, right? Talk about a recipe for disaster. So, you know that IT department lurking in the shadows of every company? Yeah, they've got this nifty little trick for snooping on messages sent through their domain. It's like having a secret spy network, but instead of cool gadgets, they just have a keyboard and some serious tech skills. I dashed down the stairs like a superhero on a mission to rescue her work laptop from the clutches of the mundane. Every now and then, she'd sneak a peek at her work email from the comfort of her couch, because who doesn't love mixing business with a side of Netflix, right? Thank my lucky stars, she was still logged in. Talk about a win. So there I was, breezing through a mountain of snooze-worthy emails, when bam! I stumbled upon the golden ticket, her email thread with John. Cue the dramatic music. Wow, I really underestimated their brilliance. I mean, who needs a secret lair when you can just chat about your master plan in a work email? Genius, right? You won't believe the level of cluelessness I just witnessed. Seriously, it was like watching a live-action comedy show where the punchline was just pure, unfiltered stupidity. Phew. Turns out they weren't plotting my dramatic exit after all. What a relief. Well, let me tell you, the truth was just as messy as a toddler with a chocolate cake. So there I was, minding my own business, when I realized these sneaky folks were scheming to lighten my wallet. Can you believe it? Believe it or not, they'd been swiping my stuff for ages without me even noticing. Natalie was playing a sneaky little game, siphoning off tiny bits of cash here and there, all cleverly masked as random little buys. And guess what? That cash was making its grand entrance into John's bank account, where they could splurge to their heart's content. Talk about a money magic trick. So, there he was, our very own home repair Picasso, whipping up invoices that looked like they were painted with a brush dipped in gold. I mean, sure, we needed to fix that leaky sink or the flickering lights, but did it really have to come with a price tag that could fund a small vacation? Classic move, right? So, I figured I'd shell out some cash for that, and then I thought she'd just hand it off to the real deal, you know, the one who wouldn't charge an arm and a leg. They'd snag whatever was sitting pretty on top. But hey, they were also chatting about playing the long game, you know? So there I was, just twiddling my thumbs, waiting for my investments to blossom like a flower in spring. Little did I know, the real plot twist was that she'd swoop in, divorce me, and snag half of my hard-earned cash. Classic, right? So, they figured once they hit the jackpot, they'd be living the dream and packing their bags for a one-way ticket out of the country. Well, let me tell you, I was totally taken aback. But without missing a beat, I jumped right into action, making sure I was all covered up. The very first thing I jumped into was jotting down every little detail. So, picture this, a treasure trove of text messages giving a thumbs up to their little secret rendezvous, plus a work email that's basically a neon sign pointing to the grand theft. Classic, right? So, I went ahead and shot an email to myself and my trusty sidekick, just in case the digital gremlins decide to play hide-and-seek with my stuff. So, I had this brilliant idea to stash all my stuff on a USB drive, you know, just in case the digital world decided to throw a tantrum. I had to play it safe, you know? Better safe than sorry, right? Well, look what we have here, a little piece of evidence that screams crime scene. It's like finding a clue in a mystery novel, but with a lot more drama and a lot less coffee. Buckle up, folks, because this is where the plot thickens. So, there I was, all wrapped up in my thoughts, and instead of giving her a nudge to chat about it, I just let her snooze on. Classic move, right? So, I just made my grand exit from the house, folks. The door swung open, and I was off on my next adventure. Who knows what awaits out there? Maybe a wild encounter with a squirrel or a surprise visit from the mailman. Stay tuned. In my book, she was a total wild card, and not the fun kind you want at a party. So there I was, minding my own business, when I discovered that she was not only playing the field but also swiping my stuff like it was a clearance sale. Talk about a double whammy. Who would have thought what kind of fireworks would go off if I decided to confront her? Well, at the end of the day, I was left with no options, folks. So there I was, just about to make my grand exit from the living room, when suddenly, like a scene straight out of a sitcom, she bursts out of the bedroom. Cue the dramatic music. So there I was, minding my own business, when she popped the question, "Hey, where are you off to?" I hit the brakes for a sec, looked her dead in the eye, and dropped the bomb, I was outta here. So, here's the scoop, she'd been chatting it up with John about ditching me, and I thought, hey, why not do them both a solid? She paused for a sec, like she was pondering the mysteries of the universe, and then she finally said we could hash it out. She wasn't exactly itching to make a mad dash with John. Oh, she was just putting on a little show, you know? Classic case of drama queen vibes. Well, let me tell you, that really got my goat. Maybe it was just the sheer audacity of her thinking I was dumb enough to buy into that nonsense. Or maybe it was the totally unbothered way she tossed it out there. So there I was, spilling the beans like a clumsy waiter at a fancy restaurant, telling her I totally knew she was plotting a whole future with him. I had my eyes on those emails, you know? Like a hawk spotting its next meal. Seeing the look on her face was like finding a hidden treasure in a sea of disappointment. It was the first spark of joy I'd felt all night. So, when she finally decided to grace us with her words, she goes, "What emails?" So, here's the scoop. So, there I was, casually dropping the bombshell that I had totally peeked at the work emails. Surprise. The time when she and her sneaky sidekick decided to spill the beans about their little money heist at my expense. So, picture this, a bunch of folks firing off emails about some not-so-legal shenanigans, all while using their work computers. Talk about mixing business with pleasure, right? Who knew the office could double as a crime scene? By the time I was done with them, They'd be knee-deep in legal trouble and waving goodbye to their jobs, too. Talk about a plot twist. And just like that, I witnessed a full-on panic attack from her. It was like watching a deer caught in headlights, but with a lot more flailing and dramatic gasps. So there she was, tears streaming down her face, pointing the finger at me like I was the villain in her personal drama, claiming I was the one who had pushed her into this whole mess. Classic, right? So there I was, watching my hard-earned cash vanish into thin air, and let me tell you, half of it was hers. She was just grabbing what was rightfully hers, like a kid in a candy store. Can you believe it? I told her I was onto her little scheme. So, picture this, she's plotting like a cartoon villain, trying to swipe everything in sight before the big D-Day. And then, just when the dust settles, she's ready to grab half of what's left like it's a clearance sale. Classic, right? But oh boy, her plan totally blew up in her face. She'd be doing a happy dance if she found even a penny at this point. So there I was, just minding my own business in the driveway, when she comes trailing after me like a sad puppy, tears streaming down her face, trying to explain why swiping my stuff was totally okay. Classic, right? She practically got down on her knees, pleading with me not to turn this molehill into a mountain. She just wouldn't stop saying that half of my cash was really hers to begin with. Can you believe that? So, I finally hit my limit with her constant chatter and said, "Why don't you just check with your lawyer to see how true that is?" She yanked my arm like we were in a dramatic courtroom scene and asked if I was seriously about to drag her to court over a few bucks. I mean, come on, it's not like I was suing her for a lifetime supply of pizza or anything. She was making quite the ruckus, and I could practically see the curtains twitching as the lights flickered on in a few windows. Well, either she was totally oblivious or just didn't give a hoot. She clutched my arm like it was the last slice of pizza, and I couldn't help but wonder if I was really more into cash than I was into us. I gave her a little nudge and said, "Hey, remember? You weren't exactly throwing a parade for this relationship either." And that's how she found herself on a little adventure with a coworker who basically treated her like a winning lottery ticket. Cha-ching. So, here's the scoop, they were both eyeing my wallet like it was the golden ticket to a lifestyle upgrade. Classic, right? I told her straight up, I'd rather set fire to every single dollar I had on legal fees than let her and her new buddy stroll off with a dime of what I worked my tail off for. I gave her a little shove and hopped into my car like I was escaping a sitcom scene. So there I was, on a mission to find a hotel that night, and guess what? I whipped out some cash like it was the hottest ticket in town, all to dodge the possibility of her tracking me down with my card. Sneaky, right? Man, I was totally on high alert now. Natalie rang my phone a couple of times, but I was playing hard to get and decided to leave her hanging. So, I made a bold move. From that day forward, I was going to need a lawyer on speed dial for any chat with her. Yep, no more casual chit-chat without legal backup. So there I was, kicking myself for chatting her up right before she made her grand exit. Well, there I was, caught in a moment of weakness, like a deer in headlights, and now I guess I just have to roll with the punches. Life, am I right? The next morning, I dove headfirst into the wild world of lawyers, trying to untangle the mess and figure out my next move. Spoiler alert, it was like herding cats. So, there I was, realizing that one lawyer just wasn't going to do the trick. I mean, come on, it's like trying to fix a leaky faucet with a band-aid. Time to level up the legal game. I'm going to need a pair of those bad boys. So, here I am, one foot in the divorce court and the other trying to figure out how to deal with a little theft drama. Talk about a plot twist, right? So, my lawyer just dropped the bombshell I kind of saw coming from a mile away. Natalie and John. Oh boy, what they pulled off was not just a little shady, it was straight up criminal. Talk about crossing the line. So, picture this, a bunch of sneaky folks decided to throw a little party with theft, fraud, civil conspiracy, and maybe even identity theft on the guest list. Talk about a wild night out, right? So, here's the scoop, they decided to play a little game of let's take what's not ours with my funds and assets, which, spoiler alert, were totally just mine. Classic, right? Whoa, hold the phone. This situation just leveled up from a casual stroll to a full-on roller coaster ride, and I realized it was time to put on my armor and start guarding my turf. So, the first thing I did? I went on a locking spree, shutting down every single account she could get her hands on. It was like a digital game of hide and seek, and I was winning. So, there I was, playing the role of the financial superhero, shutting down her cards and putting the joint account on ice. Talk about a plot twist, right? So, I went ahead and slapped a fraud alert on my credit like it was a neon sign saying, "Hey, Shady characters, back off. Just in case those sneaky little thieves got their hands on more than I thought. Better safe than sorry, right? I went ahead and switched up the passwords on all my accounts and bank caps. You know, just a little identity makeover. So, I went ahead and filed a police report to kick off a criminal investigation. You know, just your typical Tuesday. I threw every scrap of evidence I had at them like confetti at a parade. Oh, you better believe I wasn't about to cut her any slack. Oh boy, this case is still hanging in the air like a bad smell. We're not even close to wrapping it up yet. Well, here we are, and I'm already feeling like I've run a marathon in flip-flops. Can we hit pause on this thing? Seriously, it's like the universe decided to throw a party, and I didn't even get the memo. Man, talk about a plot twist. It's like finding out your best friend is actually a secret agent or something. Processing this kind of betrayal? It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. And let's be real, your life? Yeah, it's about to take a hard left turn into the unknown. Buckle up, because things are never going to be the same again. So, here I am, navigating the wild waters of divorce, and just when I thought it couldn't get any crazier, bam! A criminal investigation pops up like an unwanted party guest. Talk about adding a little spice to an already complicated recipe. So here I am, stuck in a hotel, wrestling with the glorious chaos that is my life right now. It's like trying to untangle a bunch of earbuds, but with more existential dread and fewer music vibes. Honestly, if you hadn't swooped in like a superhero, they would have probably ended up in a slapstick comedy of errors, tripping over their own wild ideas sooner or later. Oh, it's not just about the sneaky affair or the grand theft auto of your hard-earned stuff. Nope. It's the way they laughed at you, schemed like a bunch of cartoon villains behind your back, and acted like they had a VIP pass to everything you busted your butt for. Classic, right? Mix a dash of entitlement with a sprinkle of cowardice, and you've got yourself a recipe for betrayal that tastes downright bitter. Time for a little update, folks. Buckle up, because here we go. So, I totally intended to drop an update sooner, but life threw a couple of curveballs my way. You know how it goes. So, here's the scoop, I've been running around like a headless chicken lately. Going through a divorce? Oh boy, talk about a roller coaster ride for your brain and heart. It's like trying to untangle a giant ball of yarn while blindfolded, stressful and a bit messy. So, picture this, I wasn't exactly throwing a pity party, but for what felt like an eternity, I was in this epic showdown with my own motivation. Spoiler alert, I lost. The only thing I could muster the energy for was work, and everything else? Yeah. That was a no-go. Man, it's like my energy got sucked dry dealing with all these legal shenanigans in my life. Seriously, it's like a never-ending soap opera over here. Alright folks, the divorce saga is officially in the rearview mirror, and guess what? I'm finally ready to spill the beans on the update you've all been on the edge of your seats for. So, picture this, Natalie gets hit with divorce papers, and what does she do? She picks up the phone and calls me faster than a kid running to the ice cream truck. So, guess what? I finally picked up her call this time, just to hear what kind of excuses she had cooked up for herself. She didn't even bother to fake it when it came to saving our relationship. She practically got down on her knees, pleading with me to drop the charges. She was convinced I was just a step away from turning her world upside down. So, picture this, I said no, and suddenly, she flipped the switch to rage mode. It was like watching a superhero transform, but instead of saving the day, she was just ready to unleash some serious fury. We're talking about a volcanic eruption of emotions here, folks. Full-on, red-faced, steam-blowing rage. Whoa, I've never seen her that fired up before. So, there I was, minding my own business, when she hits me with the classic line, "You're being petty." Apparently, in her world, affairs are just a casual Tuesday in marriage, and wives just borrow a little from the joint account like it's no big deal. Who knew? She said I was acting like I was the very first person in history to ever experience this. Can you believe that? Like, come on, I'm not that special. Can you believe it? She actually had the audacity to say I was playing the victim card. I mean, really? Who does that? So there I was, the unsuspecting star of my own crime drama, with a plot twist that would make even the best soap operas jealous. She and her partner in crime had cooked up a scheme against me, and let me tell you, I wasn't about to let them waltz away like they were the heroes of this story. Nope, not on my watch. So, there I was, plotting my grand escape from the marriage, dreaming of a world where both of them would be behind bars. Ah, sweet justice. And just like that, I hung up the phone. So, She rings me up right away after that little incident, but guess what? I just let it ring like it was a telemarketer trying to sell me a timeshare. So, I was sitting there thinking, wow, divorce is a real doozy, but then I looked over at Natalie and realized she was in a whole different league of tough. The poor thing had it way worse. She was juggling a criminal case, and, let me tell you, it was like trying to balance a flaming sword and a bowl of jelly. She was losing on both fronts, and it was a real circus act. So, picture this, a mountain of evidence just sitting there, like a buffet of bad decisions, detailing their little crime spree. The investigation rolled in like a detective movie, revealing just how much cash she'd managed to sneak out of my pocket and what kind of mischief they were up to with it. Spoiler alert, it wasn't good. They'd been at it for a hot minute, tiptoeing around like they were in a game of stealthy ninjas. So, they decided to take a big old chunk of cash and hand it over to John, the designated money keeper. You know, just in case he needed to play the role of the bank for a bit. You won't believe this twist. So, John had this sneaky little savings account tucked away, and guess what? He was secretly stashing some of that cash into it. Poor Natalie was completely in the dark about the whole thing. Talk about a plot twist, right? Turns out, when it comes to thieves, honor is about as real as a unicorn at a barbecue. And just like that, their relationship went kaboom. Out of nowhere, Natalie flipped the script and decided to toss him right under the bus like it was a game of dodgeball. And boy, was she enjoying it. So, she got up there and spilled the beans, claiming it was all his grand scheme. Apparently, he had her wrapped around his finger, convincing her to snag the cash for me while he was busy playing the divorce cheerleader. Classic move, right? So, guess what? John decided to spill the beans on her, too. He insisted that she was just keeping the cash all to herself. He spilled the beans on all the sneaky tricks she pulled to drain my accounts dry. It was like watching a Shakespearean play unfold right before my eyes, two characters, once best buds, suddenly deciding to go all gladiator on each other. Pure drama. And let's not forget the little detail that they pulled off all this shenaniganry using their work emails. Classic, right? So, here's the scoop. John was convinced the cops were out to get him, like some sort of real-life crime drama. But plot twist. The police couldn't just waltz in and snag the juicy details from the company's work emails because, you know, confidentiality rules and all that jazz. Who knew corporate secrets could be so dramatic? Honestly, I have no clue where he pulled that ridiculous idea out of. It's like he found it in a cereal box or something. So there I was, minding my own business, when I found out that my wife had her eye on the village idiot. I mean, really? That guy? Talk about a blow to the ego. Well, he totally missed the mark, didn't he? The company was all too eager to hand over Natalie and John's email logs to the police, like a kid sharing their candy on Halloween. So, picture this, one lawyer struts in, all confident, saying they're on a mission to clear the organization's name. But guess what? That means they're ready to toss those two poor souls right under the bus. Talk about a plot twist, huh? Of course, they were friars as well. I mean, who else would they be? Just a bunch of regular Joes in robes? Nah, they were definitely rocking that friar vibe. So, here we are, watching this trial unfold like a soap opera, and let me tell you, the writing's on the wall. Spoiler alert, it's not looking good for them. Natalie's been chatting about taking her old boss to court for wrongful termination, but honestly, it looks like that plan is going about as far as a lead balloon. Well, let's be real, there's no case there, and I bet she's fully aware of it, too. Classic, right? Good news, folks. The divorce wrapped up on its own little schedule, totally separate from the criminal drama. And guess what? It's already done and dusted. Well, surprise, surprise. The courts were totally not ready to let this one slide for a criminal. Who would have thought, right? When the dust settled, I realized I didn't owe her a single thing that she didn't already have in her back pocket. Well, wouldn't you know it? She waltzed out of that divorce with a big ol' zero in her bank account, thanks to her cash being locked up tighter than a drum during her criminal trial. Talk about bad luck, right? So, picture this, she's sitting there, jobless and accountless, feeling like she's just stepped into a sitcom where everything goes hilariously wrong. Talk about being in a pickle. She's totally in a bind, and the universe is having a good laugh at her expense. So, word on the street from my pals is that she's been on a wild goose chase trying to figure out how to keep the bills from piling up. So, here she is, crashing at a friend's place, more out of pity than anything else, really. And let's not even get started on that lawsuit. It's like a giant no vacancy sign for job opportunities. Talk about a rough patch. Giving her LinkedIn a good shake revealed that she's still on the job hunt and ready to dive into some freelance fun. Honestly, I'm not sure she's got any freelance skills in her back pocket, but let's just say her situation has hit the desperate times call for desperate measures level. Feeling sorry for her? Nah, that's a hard pass. No energy to waste on that drama. She picked this wild ride, and boy, what a ride it is. So there I was, busting my chops to create this amazing future for us, a life where we could kick back and relax forever. And what does she do? She tosses it all out the window because she's all about that live large vibe right now. Classic, right? So there she was, locked in a full-blown battle with her affair partner, like two kids fighting over the last cookie. No job prospects in sight, and oh boy, the legal trouble was knocking at her door like an unwanted pizza delivery. What a mess. She was on a roll, pointing fingers and claiming I was the mastermind behind her life's epic fail. But honestly, I can't take credit for that kind of chaos. She totally nailed that all by herself, didn't she? I'm feeling pretty hopeful that once this trial wraps up, I'll be able to snag back the cash she swiped from me. In the meantime, I'll be busy stacking my coins, chasing that sweet financial freedom she just couldn't hang around for. Greed, meet my hustle. What really caught my eye was how fast those two went from best buds to sworn enemies the moment the going got tough. Well, folks, if you're looking for a fairy tale ending, you might want to check your GPS because this isn't it. That right there is the smoking gun that screams, this was not your average love story. Once upon a time, there were two self-absorbed folks, happily munching on each other's egos and greed like they were at an all-you-can-eat buffet. But, spoiler alert, reality came crashing in like an uninvited guest at a party, and things got real messy, real fast. Hey, you're totally justified in not feeling sorry for her. Seriously, no need to shed a tear over that one. Every little move she made came with its own set of consequences, and boy, did she pick this path like it was the last slice of pizza at a party. All you did was give her a little nudge to own up to her actions, right? Classic move. So, what's the scoop on all this? Spill the beans. We want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let the chatter begin. Hey there, thanks a million for hopping on board with us today in our little corner of the universe. Hey there. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and give that notification bell a good old ding so you're always in the loop for our next epic video adventure. Catch you later, alligator.